hmm Good morning. This is the face of someone who witnessed a 29-point comeback in the NBA Finals. Yeah, that's the face that you see. Mhm. So stressed out, I had to get some coffee because I could not believe what I witnessed. And then I have to ask myself, did I dream or did it really happen? It really happened. And I still can't believe it. So, welcome to another edition of Sideline Banter with your girl Tink. Um, we're not going to waste any time. And don't even worry about me discussing or talking about anybody else or anything else that's going on in the sports world. Okay. So I'm just going to give a quick shout out to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. My Tar Heels, the Diamond Heels, are headed to Omaha to have a shot at the men's college baseball World Series. Shout out to them. I also want to give a shout out to the Carolina Hurricanes, who have tied the Stanley Cup Finals to 2 games apiece with Vegas. Now, moving on, because we wasn't here for that. We were here. We are here because the Spurs of San Antonio completely collapsed in the second half of Game 4 against the Knickerbockers of New York. And when I say that with the utmost respect because the Knicks did something nobody saw coming. And I say nobody really saw coming because the way they looked in the first half, they just looked like I wouldn't even say they looked like they were defeated. They just wasn't getting what they wanted. But what they didn't do was quit and stop playing. They kept playing. They kept playing. They made adjustment after adjustment after adjustment. They kept playing, and that's how they won. So we're gonna start at the top. So game 3, y'all know what happened game 3, right? We know what happened game 3. You have the president of the United States at the game. So for a 5-block radius within the Madison Square Garden arena, everything was shut down. Nobody could get there. Watch parties canceled. And as a fan of the sport, I would be pretty hot because this is the first time that the Spurs has been in the finals since 1999. That is the year I graduated high school. I have had 3 children. 3. Okay. I got one of my kids is about to graduate from college. Yeah. She graduates from college this weekend. That is how long it's been since the Knicks have been in the finals. So to have those fans robbed of that, especially with it being the first game back in New York, yeah, I would feel some type of way. But that's neither here nor there. Okay. Um, the NBA finals returned to New York. Spurs was able to get them a dub in New York because they needed it. Okay. They needed it. And in that game, Wembyama was more aggressive. He was 11 of 18, highly efficient, 32 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and he only had 1 turnover. Very great game from Victor Wembanyama. An honorable mention to Stefan Castle, who ate of 14 field goals, much more efficient, and finished with 23 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists, and he only had 2 turnovers. Because y'all remember, In that OKC series, my man's had 20 turnovers in 2 games. Unacceptable. So game 3 did a whole lot better. The Knicks, Bronson still finished with 32, but his percentage was not the best. It was 11 of 25, and he also had 5 turnovers. Josh Hart showed up in game 3 with 16 points, 9 rebounds. And Josh Hart was due for a game. He was due for a game where he not only performed on the defensive end, but on the offensive end. And game 3 was where he showed up. It just wasn't enough for them to get the win. Karl Anthony Towns had 11 points, 8 rebounds. OG had 28 in that game. Mikal Bridges decided to disappear in game 3. So I just have, so now let's go ahead on and jump into what happened in game 4, because the Spurs are a young team, and I will say, and the coach is young, so they're young. They're young players. They have a young coach, so their youth is starting to show up in a bad way. There are key moments down the stretch where they don't make the best basketball decision. Like, you can tell it's their youth that's showing. But what I don't understand is some of the rotations, some of the lineups at the top. Question mark. I have a big old question mark on those. So we're gonna break down game 4. Okay. So game 4, first quarter, baby. Spurs cooking. Cooking with hot grease, baby. Crisco to be exact. Cooking. You hear me? 41-25 was the first quarter score. Spurs over the Knicks, right? Wemby had 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 block. He was 5 of 7, 1 of 2 from 3. Devin Vassell, I'm sorry, Devin Vassell. Let me say his name properly. I'm sorry, Devin Vassell. 12 points. He could not miss. 4 for 4. 3 of 3. 3 out of 3 from the 3-point line. Okay. Yeah, cooking. The Knicks, the only one that was helping them was OG Anunoby. 10 points, and he had 2 threes. Brunson didn't look so good in that first quarter. He only had 4 points, and he was 0 of 3 from the field with only 4 free throws. But he did have 3 assists. So then we go to the second quarter. We think, okay, the Knicks is going to do something. They're going to fight back, right? They're going to fight back. Well, score was at the end of the second quarter. The second quarter, the Spurs won that quarter 35-27. Knicks played better, but that first quarter, yeah, it slowed them down. It messed things up. So at the end of the first half, going into halftime, right? The score was 76-49. The Spurs had almost 80 points in 2 quarters. 2 quarters. The lead, 27. It's a 27-point lead. At one point, it was a 29-point lead. Okay. Now, the bench of San Antonio outscored the Knicks bench, but they only played one player off the bench consistently. That was Dylan Harper. You played Cormet here and there. You play who was they put in there? Kelvin Johnson. But for the most part, it was Harper that was coming off the bench. Knicks bench only had 2 points. Spurs bench had 22, I think, at one point off the bench. So, then we get to this third quarter. We get to this third quarter, y'all. Third quarter. Spurs come out looking a little flat. Knicks come out still missing shots. I mean, went on a run of missing shots still for a little bit in that third. And what was the Spurs doing? They were jacking up threes and missing, doing lobs and missing. And and the Knicks was just over there slowly but surely chipping away at that 29-point lead. So I'm in my sports and coffee group chat. Shout out to Sports and Coffee. And I'm saying at the end of halftime, I'm saying to them, can the Spurs maintain the lead and maintain the momentum and pull out this win? Right? I had a couple people tell me in another space I was in that, well, the nigga might be too much for them to even try to come back. All I said was they need to maintain this lead because what we've witnessed in the first 4 games, Spurs come out hot, Spurs have a big lead, get down late in the game, and somehow the Knicks rally their way back and come out with the W. They did not do it in game 3. Well, the Knicks did rally back. It just wasn't enough. The Spurs was able to fight back and maintain a lead big enough to pull off the victory. But game 1, 2, and 3, blew leads. You cannot blow leads like that and expect to win. But the youth of the Spurs showed in a bad way. Everyone is talking about De'Aaron Fox not at the end of the game. I think it was like 10 seconds left in the game. And him, when the ball was knocked in the back court and Fox was able to run it down and get it, that they were saying he should have held the ball, which he should have. Basketball IQ should have told you, sir, hold the ball, let them foul you because you have a 1-point lead. You're not down 1 point. You have the 1-point lead. So in that moment, all he had to do was hold the ball. They would have fouled him. They likely would have fouled him so they could stop the clock, period. Or if they didn't foul you, you're just holding the ball. The time is going to run out. You don't get no shot clock violation. So, you can go back to that. You could go back to Wemby missing the 2 free throws, which would have gave them a 3-point lead. So you would have put the pressure on New York to hit a 3. Now, my my counter to that is the Knicks weren't missing a lot. Alvarado hit clutch shots. Brunson hit clutch shots. OG Anunoby hit clutch shots. Like everybody was hitting shots down the line, down the stretch for the Knicks. Like they turned it on at the right time, and the Spurs could not do anything about it but take it. Sit. So what I don't understand, though, Spurs, is it was 4 minutes in the game. The Knicks were already in the bonus. Why are we shooting 3-pointers? Why? Get the ball into Harper or Fox's hand, whomever was at the 1, get it to them and pass the ball, move the ball around until you get the best shot. Because again, even at the 4-minute mark, it was still a double-digit lead. You can kill time. I'm not saying you just completely waste the clock and stand around. No, but you have the advantage of to where you can hold the ball for a little bit and waste some of that shot clock. Pass the ball around until you get the right shot. Now, if you miss, you miss. But shooting very early in the shot clock and you have that big of a lead, and then it's not even the best shot. Come on. Basketball 101. That does not make sense to me. You attack the basket and you get the foul call. Because again, Spurs is in the bonus. I mean, I'm sorry. The Spurs would have been shooting free throws regardless of what foul, like, because they were the Knicks was in a bonus. Like, I'm so confusion on that. But and I don't listen, Mike Brown has been coaching his behind off, and I'm not, and what I'm about to say is not to discredit what Mike Brown has done, because like I said, this since the Atlanta loss, baby, listen, that man has been coaching. I mean, he could teach a class at this point, and we would need to listen. But Brown didn't have to do that good of coaching to out coach Mitch Johnson in that second half. He didn't. He didn't have to do much. I mean, the Spurs were way too comfortable with the way they played. They were not playing aggressive. They were not playing like they wanted to win that game in the second half. They were playing and scrambling to maintain a lead and not to lose. So it may sound the same, but playing to win versus playing not to lose are not the same thing. They're different. Playing not to lose, you're playing it safe. You're trying to pass. You're trying to be timid. No. But when you play to win, you're going to play with some aggression. You're going to play with some force. You're going to demand you're going to demand the ball. You're going to demand, you're going to take it. And you're not going to let nobody take it from you. That is the difference between playing not to lose and playing to win. And I don't understand. Like I am still in awe. Like, so then I noticed something else. Like I even went back to had a discussion about the OKC series. Go back to the OKC series, and I'm looking at the minutes of the bench. And Mitch Johnson has only relied on 6 to 7 players for the most part. The only time the majority of the bench played was when the games were blowouts. That was in the OKC series. That was also in the Spurs, in one of the games for the Spurs, I think. Maybe one. I don't know. But no, because there haven't really been no blowouts. But if you just look at the bench production, and one of my good friends that I talk with on Twitter as well, said, he asked the question, I was in a space and he asked the question, can someone explain why the sixth man of the year, Mr. Kelvin Johnson, is not getting a lot of playing time? Because now I'm wondering, how did he win the sixth man of the year? If he was playing minutes like this, how you win sixth man of the year? He's only been playing, he's not played more than 20 minutes the entire series so far. Your biggest bench production comes from Dylan Harper, and don't get me wrong, we're going to talk about him in a second. He's earned it. But you don't use your six man. Question mark, Miss Johnson. I need you to think about that. Jalen Brunson is Jalen Brunson. The man can hoop, clutch. What if he's like one of the best guards in the league right now? It is what it is. But the MVP to me for the Knicks right now is OG Anunoby. Sorry. Him. OG has cooked all series long. 33 last night. I have no words. Plus the game winning tip in. Yeah. But I'm gonna go back to the Spurs because I'm gonna come back to you, OG. I got you, boo. De'Aaron Fox, hell of a player, hell of a ball handler, and I understand why you're starting him. I understand why you do give him solid minutes, and he's more experienced. Get it. But De'Aaron Fox has also shown he cannot be completely trusted right now. And his ball handling skills, yes. But out the first 3 games, Dylan Harper has been playing like he has been here before. He's the only player on the Spurs team right now, in my eyes, that, and this is my opinion, take it how you want, don't gotta agree, is what it is. But Dylan Harper for the San Antonio Spurs has been the only player that is playing like he has been here before. I don't know if Ron had him on the court with him or something. I don't know. I don't know. May I but that kid has been playing like he has been in the finals before. Game 1, 16 points, 8 rebounds. Game 2, 15 points, 6 rebounds. Game 3, he had 13 and 9. I mean, and last night, what did he finish with last night? Let me see, y'all. Let me get the stats up for you real quick. Like last night, he finished with 21. 21 points and 4 rebounds. And he was 3 of 6 from 3. He does not settle for a shot. He attacks the basket and he's able to get this. This kid did a darn 360. Kelvin Johnson almost turned the ball over. Somehow, my man's Harper got it, and I don't know how he got it up, but he did a 360. Boom! Next thing you know, laid the ball up. Like what? That kid is playing like he's been here before, and he's the only one. Wemby, is inconsistent. And you start out good, but then you don't finish. And honestly, it's not just him; it's a whole team. It's a whole team. De'Aaron Fox hit some clutch shots down there. I think he hit a big 3 in the fourth when the Knicks were, trying to when they were chipping into the lead. But I don't. I still have no words. Like you blew a 29-point lead. 29. Come on. I would be angry if I'm like, I might be ready to fight. If I'm the Spurs, I might be. I mean, I just don't get it. And Mitch, you're young. First year in the finals, get it. It's your first time. But you need to he's not using his bench properly. It's a lot of things he ain't doing properly. It's just some stuff I just don't get. But I think in game 4 with Mitch was down the stretch. The Spurs were tired. They had played a lot of minutes, and they shouldn't have had to play that many minutes in last night's game because of how big the lead was. But they came out in that third quarter, and I said this in my Sports and Coffee group chat. I said this in another sports group chat, and I posted it myself. And I said, can the Spurs maintain this lead? And again, like I said, we witnessed them blow leads and lose games. But I said in the third quarter, they were playing around, throwing lobs, jacking up shots, and they did not take the fact that the Knicks could come back and take that game. They took that lead for granted. They thought that it was big enough that they definitely can't make a dent in that lead. Now, if that lead was like that at the end of the third quarter, as in if it was almost 30 points in the third quarter, at the end of the third quarter, you might be able to take your foot off the gas a little bit, not a lot. Not against the Knicks who've come back from being down throughout the playoffs. It's what they do. So Mitch used Kelvin Johnson and Cornette. He didn't use them enough. There's no reason why last night, so last night, and I'm just gonna go off of last night's game. Johnson had 18 minutes. I don't why. Carter Bryant had 5 minutes. Like, why? Luke Cornett had 4 minutes. Why? Why are you not using your bench to give your starters a rest? Because you definitely could have benched them in that third quarter for a little bit to let them rest, but you left them in there too long for them to start chipping away at the lead. Then you took them out, and the momentum done shifted going towards the Knicks. The Knicks are starting to hit everything now. And then you put Wemby and your starters back in, and then you have to really play them the whole game because now, or the rest of the second half, because now they gotta make sure they don't lose this lead. And they're exhausted. Because if you look at some of the shots that the Spurs were taking, they were hitting the front of the rim or they were short. And if you know basketball, you know what that means. Tired legs. Period. Tired legs is what it is. So I can the Spurs come back from this? If this was them coming back from a game that they knew they were going to lose, maybe. But a game that you literally had gift wrapped, bow tied, and all you had to do was open it, I don't know. I do not know if you can come back from that. I did watch Dylan Harper's press conference, some of it anyway, and he said he was like he had the best answer, and it's actually just what it is. He was like, I mean, are we mad? Yes. Are we hurt? Absolutely. He was like, but only thing we can do, use this as fuel for game 5. That is all you can do. That's it. Take what you did in this game, use it, learn from it, and now you got to move on to game 5 because you can't do nothing about game 4 now. You can't do anything about games 1 through 4 anymore now. The only thing you can do is go watch some film, study that film, dissect that film, and watch what you did or didn't do. And I'm not just talking about the players either. That is also for the coach because there's definitely some things that he could have done differently. A lot of things. I don't know why he doesn't have Castle or Harper running more pick and roll action with Wemby. Wemby gets his own rebounds, throws his own alley oops to finish at the rim. Run a pick and roll. You don't do it enough, but they rely too heavily on 3-point shooting. And you didn't need to. 4 minutes left in the game. The Knicks were already in the bonus. The Spurs would have been shooting free throws the rest of the game, whether it was a foul on the ball or whether it was fouled in the act of shooting. Play ball, so I don't know if the coach told him that, if there was no situational awareness. I have no words, but the biggest thing I do have words on that. It's either low basketball IQ or you just you don't know. So, we can give grace, to the Spurs. I ain't gonna say grace, but they're young. They're not there yet. They're not there. And it showed in the mistakes that they made in the second half. And the same with the coaching. But yeah, on your way back to San Antonio, y'all better be studying that film. And I mean watching it to find out what you got to do to get a game 6. Because right now it's looking like Knicks in 5. And if you want to keep it a buck, the Spurs should be up 3-1. And I say 3-1 and not 4-0 because the first game, you can give that to the Knicks. It was a 10-point lead. So, okay. Second game, games 2 through 4 are all Spurs. Those games they lost themselves. And it's not to say that the Knicks didn't do anything great to win the games. I'm not saying that. But you should have won that game. You should have won game 2. You should have won game 3, and you sure as hell should have won game 4. It should be 3-1. Going back to San Antonio to close the series out. But they took the Knicks for granted. And I'm gonna go ahead on and close it out here. They took the Knicks for granted. They thought that lead, that 29-point lead, was safe. But when you have an OG Anunoby, when you have a Karl Anthony Towns, when you have a Jalen Brunson, when you have a Josh Hart, when you have these players that Mitchell Robinson, when you have those players that want something and know that it's theirs, that is how the Knicks are playing. The Knicks are saying, this is for, I'm coming to get it. I'm coming to get it. And OG Anunoby, for me, between him and Karl Anthony Towns, are the MVP. And it's no shade to Brunson. But consistently, it has been OG for me. But so hopefully, hopefully the Spurs can bounce back and come away with a win. So I'm still shocked, y'all. I'm still shocked. So we're gonna leave it at that. Thanks again for tuning in. Please know your girl will be back on the sideline with the banter on these NBA finals and everything going on in the sports community, baby. So appreciate y'all joining me. Catch you on the next one. I can't believe they lost that game. Oh.